I am not your Negro. James Baldwin, a poet. This is what this DV is about. This DVD is about. But let me go ahead and state also, Joe Bird, rest in peace. Brother transitioned and his services are in Salem tomorrow. I didn't know the brother. I know I've dealt with his people. But rest in peace, young black man, transitioned at 54 years of age. So, took care of that piece of business. Now, let's go back to last week. Oh, let's go ahead and do this real quick. That's right, this is BrotherRA.com. And let's say, hey, thank you, CCTV, for giving Brother RA an opportunity to be able to produce his own program. Because last week, I used quote-unquote copywritten material. And I tried to post it to YouTube. You use copywritten material. So I got my website guy downloaded. So it's on Brother RA. You want to watch last week's show? And I'm constantly working to push the envelope. Let me make sure I make this statement. I am not your Negro. James Baldwin. That's, you talk about Chi and Tao and so on and so forth. Taking it to a higher level of who we are as a people. And James Baldwin expressed himself in his poetry, and the last 45 minutes of the show, we will be watching that copywritten material. But this kind of information needs to be shared. You talk about black TV? What? You talk about black folks acting stupid for television? Well, so you can watch last week's show on BrotherRA.com because YouTube won't show it and won't show it on Facebook. And that particular program dealt with mind control. The Manchurian Candidate showed the inequities, black college, stomp yard, fraternities putting on their step shows, and that rhythm that black folks can maintain. Melanin recessive, inbred mutant albinos can acquire such a talent. It just doesn't come so naturally. Now, Mind Control, Manchurian Candidate. That was a movie that Denzel was in. Made him shoot somebody. And of course, I showed my favorite show, Mission Impossible. Speaking of Mission Impossible, let's see if we can push the envelope. push the envelope. I am not your Negro. Joe Bird, rest in peace. I'm talking about mind control. I don't watch television, I don't watch the news, because I don't want to be sucked in. Because that shit is, if I'm a media professional, and back in the day when I was doing video, it was 29 frames a second of video. And so, if you can do, what kind of subtle messages, Mission Impossible, what kind of subtle messages can be sent out through digital media and everyone's walking around with a damn cell phone? I try not to walk around with my cell phone near my genitals. Because I don't know what kind of, cell phone, satellite, radiation, woo, what? Yeah, so, I love this title. I'm not your Negro. I'm a thinking black man. Now, I say first 15 minutes I better move on. Because we want to get to James Baldwin. I'm not your Negro. So I made here's a point, 106 into the show. Everyone knows Brother R.A. single, never married, no kids, right? And I ain't bad looking, and I might be a little different, a little strange, a little awkward, I'm just out there. So, how would you feel, mothers? How would you feel if your daughter came home and said, hey, this guy named Brother R.A., he proposed to me? I'm just wondering what kind of reputation the brother has. How would black women feel? One brother to the whole community, just questioning. Because I'm constantly thinking on the varying levels that my liquid fluid pineal gland will allow me to go. No, I won't be perpetuating 400 years of slavery. The buck stops here. I'm a thinking black motherfucker. That's the next thing I wanted to get to too. Thank you, Joe Bird. You transitioned your services are tomorrow out in Salem. And I'm just thinking, if I'm 55, that brother's 54, I'm 55, my next birthday I'll be 56 years old. I'm like, when I transition, what would I prefer to hear at my services? I'm just saying, you got 60, you got till 15 past. Shut up and say what you gotta say. I'm saying, Brother R.A. lived his X number of years. All I have to say about Brother R.A. is, that motherfucker. That's all that needs to be said in my services. That's all. I'm sorry. Yo. That motherfucker. So, rest in peace. I don't know who's going to Joe Bird's services tomorrow, but I definitely want to restate, I'm not your Negro. I have to push the envelope and see how far I can go and get away with. Cause let's say young lady go home, say, he say his name is Brother R.A. He don't like using his slave name. But he proposed to me. He want to take me down to E.B. Horn. Pick out a ring. Am I... What? I am not your Negro. I can't even imagine these words coming out of my mouth. I've been bragging about being single, never married, no kids for a long time. And now, what's your game plan, yo, R.A.? Joe Bird transition. Your birthday, you be 56. Your next motherfucking birthday. What's your strategy? Yo, you a chess player, motherfucker. What's your move? What's your strategy dealing with white supremacy? Knowing your ass is under black genetic attack and you ain't got no motherfucking children. What? You ain't fighting white supremacy? I'm not your Negro. I gotta have a strategy. I gotta get my game plan in gear. Now, what? Talk about, I can afford 3-4 months, $500, a $2,000 rock. Yeah, put that shit on, Be like, I can't even, I'm saying this, I'm thinking these thoughts. You want a nice rock. Now, is that perpetuating white supremacy, spending $2,000, $2,500 on a rock? Chiseled out of some mines, polished up shit? E.B. Horn jewelers? You want a rock? Say yes. And she's your partner. She's not an attachment. Nah, this is relative thinking. In 2018, Brother R.A. no longer perpetuating 400 years of slavery. We're talking about, what's next, Brother R.A.? Yeah, okay, I'm gonna submit and succumb, drop my $2,500 on a rock. Say, yo, baby, you a melanin dominant sister. I chose you. I'm engaged to you. I'm 55 no longer. Hey, I'll be 56. Yo, what's up? Alright, I got 45 seconds. So I'm not your Negro. I talked about rest in peace, Joe Bird. I'm not your Negro. Mind control, Mission Impossible, Manchurian can't. Mothers, how would you feel? Your daughter came home and said, yo, Brother R.A. proposed to me. And he wants to go down and help. I can pick out my own stone. Alright, I'm just asking a question. And like I said, the only thing I need said in my grave is, at my funeral, that motherfucker. Alright. Oh shit, I already didn't read the dial. Oh, I gotta do that. I'm sorry, we're gonna have to take that second. I have to read this. I was dancing and dealing with Heej earlier this week, and he said read page 130. This is page 130. Struggle. Life acquires meaning when we face the conflict between our desires and reality. We all have differing personalities vying on the predominance in our lives. So come out at just the right moment. At other times, our aspirations, our fondest hopes find little support in our environment. Only a few can truly say that they are living their lives exactly according to their desires. For the majority of us, life is a series of conflicts between our inner ideas and our outer constrictions. How will we test ourselves against the flexing of external circumstances? Goals are important. Forbearance is also important. But the very process of struggle is equally essential. Rice must undergo the hardship of pounding in order to become white. Steel must endure the forge in order to become strong. Adversity is the tampering of one's metal. Without it, we cannot know any true meaning in our accomplishments. Of course, when things happen without a struggle, it does not mean that we did not deserve it. A musician may compose a brilliant piece in an afternoon. An artist may dash off a masterpiece in a single sitting. A writer will write significant pages as if they were dedicated. Each might say, it happened so fast. But in reality, it took all of them years of dedication and struggle to come to that moment of climax. Thus, even the virtuoso performance is in the tip of a lifetime of struggle, and the gem of meaning is set in the middle of long perseverance. Okay, so I'm 3 minutes over, but let's get to I'm Not Your Negro. That was struggle. Most important for me to have read at this point in this time in my life and what's going on. I'm just sharing with the Brother R.A. audience. Now, without further ado, I don't need to push that in. Let's just move this screen and go straight into I Am Not Your Negro. That was last week's show. That was me watching it. The link is on the website, brotherra.com. That won't be aired on Facebook or any place else. But let's get into James Baldwin's story. Go ahead and read that. In June 1979. Oh, let's bring up the audio.
Mr. Bolin, I'm sure you still meet the remark that, what are the Negroes, why aren't they optimistic? They say, but it's getting so much better. There are Negro mayors, there's Negroes in all of sports, there are Negroes in politics, they're even accorded the ultimate accolade of being in television commercials now. I'm glad you're smiling. Is it at once getting much better and still hopeless?
Well, I don't think there's much hope for it, to tell you the truth. As long as people are using this peculiar language. It's unquestionable what happens to the Negro here, to the black man here. That's a very vivid question for me, But the real question is what's going to happen to this country. I have to repeat that.
You damn right I got the blues. From my head down to my shoes. You damn right I got the blues. From my head down to my shoes. I can't win, 'cause I don't have a thing to lose. I stopped by my daughter's house, and I just want to use the phone. I stopped by my daughter's house, I just want to use the phone.
To J. Acton, Spartan Literary Agency, June 30th, 1979. My dear Jay, I'll confess to you that I am writing the enclosed proposal in a somewhat divided frame of mind.
Mine is Dudley Station.
Scarcely begun.
Back in the day.
Already that it's almost over. And I will be 55. Yes, 55 in a month. I am about to undertake the journey. And this is a journey, to tell you the truth, which I always knew that I would have to make, but had hoped, perhaps, and certainly hadn't hoped, not to have to make so soon. I am saying that a journey is called that because you cannot know what you will discover on the journey, what you will do with what you find, or what you find will do to you.
We don't not only have a right to be free, we have a duty to be free. Yeah. And so when you sit down on the bus and you sit down in the front or you sit down by a white person, you're sitting there because you have a duty to sit there, not merely because you have a right.
The time of these lives and deaths from a public point of view is 1955, when we first heard of Martin, to 1968, when he was murdered. Medgar was murdered in the summer of 1963. Malcolm was murdered in 1965.
Yeah, take my hand, precious Lord, lead me on, let me stand. I'm tired, I'm weak, I'm old.
The three men, Medgar, Malcolm, and Martin, were very different men. Consider that Martin was only 26 in 1955. He took on his shoulders the weight of the crimes and the lies and the hope of a nation. I want these three lives to bang against and reveal each other, as in truth they did, and use their dreadful journey as a means of instructing the people whom they loved so much, who betrayed them, and for whom they gave their lives.
The moment a Negro child walks into the school, every decent, self-respecting, loving parent should take his white child out of that parochial school.
Yo, this is real. Yo, this is motherfucking real. This is today. Yo, This is in my lifetime. My 55 years. I was born 1962. And this shit still go on.
God forgives murder and he forgives adultery. But he is very angry and he actually curses all who do integrate.
Who integrate. Let's make sure she's complaining about integration.
That's when I saw the photograph. On every newspaper kiosk on that wide tree-shaped boulevard in Paris were photographs of 15-year-old Dorothy Counts being reviled and spat upon by the mob as she was making her way to school in Charlotte, North Carolina. There was unutterable pride, tension, and anguish in that girl's face as she approached the halls of learning with history jeering at her back. It made me furious. It filled me with both hatred and pity, and it made me ashamed. Some one of us should have been there with her. But it was on that bright afternoon that I knew I was leaving France. I could simply no longer sit around Paris discussing the Algerian and the Black American problem. Everybody else was paying their dues. And it was time I went home and paid mine.
If you was white, you'd be alright. If you was brown, you'd stick around. But as you black, oh brother, get back, get back, get back. They went to him.
I'm talking about education. Harvard teaching this shit. MIT teaching this shit. Fuck you. Bitch.
If you was brown, you stick around. But as you black, oh brother.
This is 60 marketing?
If there was in this some illusion, there was also much truth. In the years in Paris, I had never been homesick for anything American. Neither waffles, ice cream, hot dogs, baseball, major leagues, movies, nor the Empire State Building, nor Coney Island, nor the Statue of Liberty, nor the Daily News, nor Times Square.
None of that shit.
Things had passed out of me. They might never have existed. And it made absolutely no difference to me if I never saw them again. But I missed my brothers and sisters and my mother. They made a difference.
That's hardcore.
I wanted to be able to see them and to see their children. I hoped that they wouldn't forget me. I missed Harlem Sunday mornings and fried chicken and biscuits. I missed the music. I missed the style. That style possessed by no other people in the world. I missed the way the dark face closes, the way dark eyes watch, and the way when a dark face opens, a light seems to go everywhere. I missed, in short, my connections. Missed the life which had produced me and nourished me and paid for me. Now, though I was a stranger, I was home. I'm fascinated by the movement on and off the screen. I'm about 7. I'm with my mother or my aunt. The movie is Dance Fools Dance. I was aware that Joan Crawford was a white lady. Yet, I remember being sent to the store sometime later, and a colored woman who, to me, looked exactly like Joan Crawford was buying something. She was incredibly beautiful. She looked down at me with so beautiful a smile that I was not even embarrassed, which was rare for me.
I'm talking about the hardcore life reality of being melanin
By
dominant.
this time, I had been taken in hand by a young white school teacher named Bill Miller, a beautiful woman, very important to me. She gave me books to read and talked to me about the books and about the world, about Ethiopia and Italy and the German Third Reich, and took me to see plays and films to which no one else would have dreamed of taking a 10-year-old boy. It is certainly because of Bill Miller, who arrived in my terrifying life so soon, that I never really managed to hate white people. Though God knows, I have often wished to murder more than one or two. Therefore, I began to suspect that white people did not act as they did because they were white, but for some other reason. I was a child, of course, and therefore unsophisticated. I took Bill Miller as she was, or as she appeared to be to me. She too, anyway, was treated like a nigger, especially by the cops, and she had no love for landlords.
Richard! Can't get him up. Richard! Can't get him up. Richard! Can't get him up. Lazy Richard can't get him up. Richard!
In these days, no one resembling my father has yet made an appearance on the American cinema scene.
Can't get him up. We'll try to get him on the phone. I was laying down dreaming.
No, it's not entirely true. There were, for example, Stepin Fetchit and Willie Best and Mantan Moreland. All of whom, rightly or wrongly, I loathed. It seemed to me that they lied about the world I knew and debased it. And certainly I did not know anybody like them, as far as I could tell. For it is also possible that their comic bug-eyed terror contained the truth concerning a terror by which I hoped never to be engulfed. Yet, I had no reservations at all concerning the terror of the black janitor and They Won't Forget. I think that it was a black actor named Clinton Rosemond who played this part, and he looked a little like my father.
I didn't do it.
He is terrified because a young white girl in this small southern town has been raped and murdered, and her body has been found on the premises of which he is the janitor.
Good morning, Tom. Tom?
The role of the janitor is small, yet the man's face bangs in my memory until today.
Nobody says you have, Tom, but they might.
The film's icy brutality both scared me
What for?
and strengthened me. Because Uncle Tom refuses to take vengeance in his own hands, he was not a hero for me. Heroes, as far as I could see, were white, and not merely because of the movies, but because of the land in which I lived, of which movies were simply a reflection. I despised and feared those heroes because they did take vengeance into their own hands. They thought vengeance was theirs to take. And yes, I understood that. My countrymen were my enemy. I suspect that all these stories are designed to reassure us that no crime was committed. We've made a legend out of a massacre.
Leaving aside all the physical facts which one can quote, leaving aside rape or murder, leaving aside the bloody catalog of oppression, which we are in one way too familiar with already, what this does to the subjugated is to destroy his sense of reality. This means, in the case of an American Negro, born in that glittering republic, and in the moment you are born, since you don't know any better, every stick and stone and every face is white, and since you have not yet seen a mirror, you suppose that you are too.
Oh!
It comes as a great shock, around the age of 5 or 6 or 7, to discover that Gary Cooper killing off the Indians when you were rooting for Gary Cooper, that the Indians were you. It comes as a great shock to discover that the country, which is your birthplace,
Damn!
your life and your identity, has not in its whole system of reality evolved any place for you.
Go ahead.
Jay, you must, it is to be hoped, be as curious as I am concerning the execution of this book project. I know how to do it, technically. It is a matter of research and journeys. And with you or without you, I will do it anyway. I begin in September when I go on the road. The road means my return to the South. It means briefly, for example, seeing Merle Evers and the children, those children who are children no longer. It means going back to Atlanta, to Selma, to Birmingham. It means seeing Coretta Scott King and Martin's children. I know that Martin's daughter, whose name I don't remember, and Malcolm's oldest daughter, whose name is Attila, are both in the theater, and apparently are friends. It means seeing Betty Shabazz, Malcolm's widow, and the 5 younger children. It means exposing myself as one of the witnesses to the lives and deaths of their famous fathers. And it means much, much more than that. A clod of witnesses, as old St. Paul once put it. I first met Malcolm X. I saw Malcolm before I met him. I was giving a lecture somewhere in New York. Malcolm was sitting in the first row of the hall, bending forward at such an angle that his long arms nearly caressed the ankles of his long legs, staring up at me. I very nearly panicked. I knew Malcolm only by legend, and this legend, since I was a Harlem street boy, I was sufficiently astute to distrust. Malcolm might be the torch that white people claim he was, though, in general, white America's evaluations of these matters would be laughable and even pathetic, did not these evaluations have such wicked results. On the other hand, Malcolm had no reason to trust me either, and so I stumbled through my lecture, with Malcolm never taking his eyes from my face.
Yo, I don't know. I be fucked up. Malcolm X watching Brother R.A. Oh, shit. Damn. That'll fuck a nigga up.
All the time.
As a member of the NAACP, Medgar was investigating the murder of a black man, which had occurred months before. Had shown me letters from black people asking him to do this, and he had asked me to come with him.
Raise up, get yourself together. Drive that funky soul.
I was terribly frightened, but perhaps that field trip will help us define what I mean by the word witness.
Drive that funky soul.
I was to discover that the line which separates a witness from an actor is a very thin line indeed. Nevertheless, the line is real. I was not, for example, a black Muslim. In the same way, though for different reasons, that I never became a Black Panther. Because I did not believe that all white people were devils. And I did not want young black people to believe that. I was not a member of any Christian congregation because I knew that they had not heard and did not live by the commandment, love one another as I love you. And I was not a member of the NAACP because in the North, where I grew up, the NAACP was fatally entangled with black class distinctions.
Oh, shit!
Of the same, which repelled a shoeshine boy like me.
I got, you ain't got.
I did not have to deal with the criminal state of Mississippi hour by hour and day by day, to say nothing of night after night. I did not have to sweat cold sweat after decisions involving hundreds of thousands of lives. I was not responsible for raising money or deciding how to use it. I was not responsible for strategy controlling prayer meetings, marches, petitions, voting registration drives. I saw the sheriffs, the deputies, the storm troopers more or less in passing. I was never in town to stay. This was sometimes hard on my morale, but I had had to accept as time wore on that part of my responsibility as a witness was to move as largely and as freely as possible, to write the story and to get it out.
We should all be concerned with but one goal, the eradication of crime. The Federal Bureau of Investigation is as close to you as your nearest telephone. It seeks to be your protector in all matters within its jurisdiction. It belongs to you.
Me and Mission Impossible, you know them motherfuckers get a file on my ass. I ain't anti-nobody. I'm pro-black, pro-melanin dominant. I'm sorry, I believe in my genetic superiority. I got a liquid pineal gland. Tell me some stupid shit. I raise up over y'all and your dumb shit. That's right. I'm a star. I'm a child of the sun. I'm a fast frequency.
I'm astounded by Birmingham. Black people aren't. White people are endlessly demanding to be reassured that Birmingham is really on Mars. They don't want to believe, still less to act on the belief that what is happening in Birmingham is happening all over the country. They don't want to realize that there is not one step morally or actually between Birmingham and Los Angeles.
three men on the forefront of the Negro struggle to sit down and talk with us in front of the television camera. Each of these men, through his actions and his words, but with vastly different manner and means, is a spokesman for some segment of the Negro people today.
Black people in this country have been the victims of violence at the hands of the white man for 400 years. And following the ignorant Negro preachers, we have thought that it was godlike to turn the other cheek to the brute that was brutalizing us.
Malcolm X, one of the most articulate exponents of the black Muslim philosophy, has said of your movement and your philosophy that it plays into the hands of the white oppressors, that they are happy to hear you talk about love for the oppressor because this disarms the Negro and fits into the stereotype of the Negro as a meek, turning the other cheek sort of preacher. Would you care to comment on Mr. X's belief?
Well, I don't think of love as, in this context, as emotional bosh. But I think of love as something strong and that organizes itself into powerful, direct action. Now, this is what I try to teach in the struggle in the South, that we are not engaged in a struggle that means we sit down and do nothing. That there's a great deal of difference between non-resistance to evil and non-violent resistance.
Martin Luther King is just the 20th century or modern Uncle Tom or a religious Uncle Tom who is doing the same thing today to keep Negroes defenseless in the face of attack that Uncle Tom did on the plantation to keep those Negroes defenseless in the face of the attack of the Klan in that day.
I think, though, that we can be sure that the vast majority of Negroes who engage in the demonstrations and who understand the nonviolent philosophy will be able to face dogs and all of the other brutal methods that are used without retaliating with violence, because they understand that one of the first principles of nonviolence is a willingness to be the recipient of violence while never inflicting violence upon another.
As concerns Malcolm and Martin, I watched two men coming from unimaginably different backgrounds, whose positions originally were poles apart, driven closer and closer together. By the time each died, their positions had become virtually the same position. It can be said indeed that Martin picked up Malcolm's burden, articulated the vision which Malcolm had begun to see and for which he paid with his life, and that Malcolm was one of the people Martin saw on the mountaintop. Medgar was too young to have seen this happen, though he hoped for it and would not have been surprised. But Medgar was murdered first. I was older than Medgar, Malcolm, and Martin. I was raised to believe that the eldest was supposed to be a model for the younger, and was, of course, expected to die first. Not one of these three lived to be 40.
Damn!
We need an organization that no one downtown loves. We need one that's ready and willing to take action. Any kind of action, by any means necessary.
Oh, shit.
When Malcolm talks, or one of the ministers talk, they articulate for all the Negro people who hear them, who listen to them. They articulate their suffering. The suffering which has been in this country so long denied. That's Malcolm's great authority over any of his audiences. He corroborates their reality. He tells them that they really exist, you know?
2017? September? Shit. I'm hard. I'm just showing truth, motherfucker. Wake the fuck up.
And there are days, this is one of them, when you wonder what your role is in this country and what your future is in it. How precisely you're going to reconcile yourself to your situation here, and how you're going to communicate to the vast, heedless, unthinking, cruel white majority that you are here. I'm terrified at the moral apathy, the death of the heart, which is happening in my country. These people have deluded themselves for so long that they really don't think I'm human. I base this on their conduct, not on what they say. And this means that they have become, in themselves, moral monsters.
Alright, enough of that. So, mind control. We've endured 400 years of looking at the images I just concluded with there. We think white is all right, brown you stick around, but if your ass is black, you better get the motherfucker back. Yo, we in the era, Brother R.A. Yeah, some of y'all know my slave name, but Amun-Ra. Yes, my initials equal to Amun-Ra, or the sun god, or tapping into the frequency of light. Trying to do some chi using some communicative skills, just mind to mind. You can't get that at Harvard. Can't get that at MIT. I'm doing some supernatural, Brother R.A. Nah, I'm not your Negro, James Baldwin. Black, getting deep into my past. Deep into my ancestry, deep into my psyche, connecting with those who are willing to connect with a brother, pay attention to some of the details. I mean, I become a father. I try to document everything. And see, that's why I gotta make sure it's somewhere in a Brother R.A. archive. Because if it's not on the website, they may not always have Brother R.A. shit on YouTube. Because my shit be too whoop. Nah. And what I read from the down, suffrage. No, I'm sorry. Struggle. He's told me my dance showed I was struggling. Am I struggling? Am I using mind over matter? Am I tapping deeper in to my ancestral spirit? Mommy, Daddy, Nana, Papa, Joe Bird. Tap in to the ancestors that have transitioned prior to Brother R.A. Do some Harriet Tubman, reach down in the back, can pull some black to outer space thinking. You have the ability, not necessarily to struggle, but you need a little bit of struggle to evaluate and equate, because if it come too easy, you won't have no appreciation for that shit. Motherfuckers, you give them something, and they be expecting more. Give, all you do is take. Shut up, alright. So, you gotta have some struggle in the mix. So you follow me spiritually, even though I am toted. Yeah, I hit the pipe, but I know the show comes in 45 seconds, so let me conclude. That's right too. Let me show you the DVDs. I watched Martian, Danish Girl, Covert Affairs, NCIS, Ocean's 12, Easy A, and Get Out. Those are DVDs just to help with this programming mindset to get me do my mission impossible. But thank y'all for tuning in. I have been your host, Brother R.A., the brother who's had too goddamn much to say each and every day anyway. So, peace.